There can never be a victory to make the warring cease. Like wars on drugs and poverty, its scope can just increase. War on terror would end all peace. Terror is amorphous. Terror has no face.
Since 2001, the U.S. has occupied territories in the Middle East. There are those who do not think that the costs of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan warrant outrage and protests.
But when is enough enough? When do we draw the line?
To date, over 4,500 U.S. soldiers and 50,000 Iraqi and Afghan civilians have died. These are our brothers and sisters, women and children, fathers and sons. Who is to say that each of their lives are worth less than ours?
During the march, grave markers were erected across the lawn of the Washington Monument to commemorate the casualties on both sides. Each marker held the name and details of each individual death as a visual reminder that these wars are not to be taken lightly.
But on top of the human costs is the economic factor.
To date, over $982 billion has been spent with no sign of letting up.
It costs $1 million to put one soldier in Afghanistan for 1 day, for 1 year. $1 million, one soldier, 1 year. It costs $50,000 to build a school in Afghanistan, employing Afghanis that will be staffed for 5 years. We're trying to win the hearts and minds of Afghanistan. We have it all wrong.
Time comes when silence is betrayal. That time has come for us, even when pressed by the demands of inner truth. Men do not easily assume the task of opposing their government's policy, especially in time of war. And I knew that I could never again raise my voice against the violence of the oppressed in the ghettos without having first spoken clearly to the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, my own government. A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death. Somehow this madness must cease.
We're going to march again right back here to the White House, and each and every place we go, we're going to be delivering flag-draped coffins. And we're going to show the human cost of this war. We're not going to just have an American flag, we're going to have Iraqi flags, and Afghan flags, and Palestinian flags, Yemeni flags, Somali flags. This is one human family rising together against imperialism.
To hell with the bankers who suffer from terminal greed. We've got to stop them and all those who profit from war. Yes, we will follow the money. Let's buy peace instead of war.
Well, I think there's a misconception that people have that a protest does something in itself, that it could end the war. And it's not. It's really part of building a movement. Building a movement takes having forms and having speakers and setting up tables and passing out literature and having protests of various kinds and various levels. And you start seeing, as people take their first step into a protest activity, their consciousness changes. They now consider themselves an anti-war activists, and it means something. And it's really building a movement, and that movement will then be able to manifest itself politically in the electoral arena, outside of the electoral arena, and make some real changes. If you look at the way any movement has made changes in the past, it's when a movement was built, like the way women got the right to vote. It didn't happen by Congress, which was all male, voting for it. It happened by huge protests and incredibly brave protests. I mean, It happened during World War I, and the women that were protesting were asked to stop their protesting, and they refused to do it.
The coward will ask, is it safe? Vanity will ask, is it popular? But conscience will ask, is it right?
What would you say to students who don't think they can make a difference?
Well, I would tell them that they're wrong, first of all. You know, every major movement in history has been made by young people. So, to those people who can see the sufferings of the world and go on, I think they're calloused and heartless.
And we're going to end this war. And we're going to end this war.